Hey, welcome to this brand new video. You're with yours truly, Queen Choma from queenchomamedia.com. So today is the 2nd of October. So happy October to those of you that are here listening in real time on the actual day. But also if you're in the month of October, like if it's not the day, like if this is not the 2nd, happy October to you still. But yeah, if you're listening to this way in the future, I'm sending you lots of love and blessings as well. So I hope you guys are doing good, and I wish you a wonderful, fabulous new month full of blessings and joy, full of goodness and good news. And all the blessings that God has for you. Okay, so I'm a publicist. In case you don't know that, that's one of the things. That's the main work I do. Is I'm a PR and media coach and consultant and a publicist based in London, UK. I mainly work with clients in America, but also in the UK and also in different parts of the world, which includes Australia, which includes Germany, it includes Spain and Dubai, and just like women from different parts of the world. I work with women entrepreneurs, female coaches, boss babes, authors, speakers. I've worked with lots of beauty queens and models and celebrities. I've worked with some celebrities and also high profile people. Yeah, people that want to be in the media or people that are in the media and they want to just go to that next level. So I am talking to you today about the 13 reasons. I'm giving you 13 reasons to hire a publicist, how this can positively impact your business. What are you really getting out of this? What will the publicist help you with? That's what I'm going to be covering in this video. And it's just going to be like, this is going to also help you if you've been interested in working with me and you're like, I want to hire Queen or I want to know more about her services. This is going to help you to understand pretty much what we do as publicists, like the value of a publicist. Because, sometimes people can just think it's about getting you media interviews or, getting you onto television. And that's part of it, but that is not all a publicist does. So let's dive in. What is the definition of a publicist? So basically, according to Oxford Dictionary Languages, a publicist is a person responsible for publicizing a product, person, or company. And then number two, a journalist, especially one concerned with current affairs. Now, oh my goodness, the first one is what people are more used to. And I've never heard anyone say a journalist before, right? So usually a publicist is someone that works with clients, right? They work with maybe authors. They want to basically publicize something. It could be a event. So maybe you have this event coming up and all they want to do is help you to make that event a success, to bring in the media to come to this event, to make sure you have all amazing the amazing audience that you want, to make sure you have the influencers at your event, to make sure you have great press kits at your event, to make sure you have really amazing gifts at your event, to make sure that this event is a huge success. Like if you have a launch party, for example, it's the press will a publicist might want you to really to give you loads of ideas of how to make this a success. Now, this can apply to a book. If you're trying to promote a book, your publicist is going to help you to get that book out there in a big way, so you can sell lots of copies of the book. Sometimes the client is not really you. Sometimes the client is your book. Okay, so it could be all about the book. It could be all about the event. It could be all about the actual product. So with Kylie Cosmetics, her publicist might be focused on, like, if they're doing a big launch around a product, right? Then it's all about that product. It's not yes, she's part of it, but it's about the product. Let's get this product to be. That's why some celebrities will really make it a big deal to go on and on about their perfume, the product, the perfume, right? Or the new eyeshadow that they've brought out, or the new their new clothing line. They're not giving attention to themselves, they're putting the attention on that product. And that's what publicists do. And this can apply to a company. So I basically get my clients booked to be in the media, to speak on, whether it's TV, to get them to be on podcast shows, get them featured in newspapers, make sure that they're quoted in magazines. We're talking about covers as well. I get my clients to have opportunities to be on the cover of magazines. Some of my clients have had the opportunity. It could be a 5-page spread in a magazine. It could be newspapers, being in newspapers, getting radio interviews, speaking gigs, live and virtual speaking gigs, and so on and so forth, right? So what I want to say about this as well, guys, is when I did target market research once, One of the ladies I spoke to, who was actually my mastermind partner back in the day, I had a time when I had two mastermind partners, and one of them I interviewed her about what would you be wanting in reference to PR and media if you were to hire a publicist or if you were to hire a PR person. And she said she doesn't want visibility for publicity on herself. Like, it's not about her, but she wants it for her business. And she thinks that's what most entrepreneurs want. And that really helped me to understand this a bit more, to get the work of being a publicist. And there was a time when I took over from being a publicist. Like, there was a woman that was a publicist, and I took over because she had to. She was not going to be able to do it with this for this whole book project that was going on. Because she wasn't well anymore. She was going to be taking some time off due to her health, and so I was hired to take over. And it was this massive book launch with many authors that were all involved in this, but it was one book but just many authors. And so I just remember she said she kind of mentioned the woman, because the woman was we were kind of there at the same time for a little bit before I took over. So I would see her post in the group, and one of the things she said is that she would refer to the book as the client. Okay, so don't always think that you're the client. Don't always think that it's about you. It's about your product that you're promoting, whatever the important thing is. If it's the event, if it's the company, if it's and so your what you want to see happen is not always as important as what's right for the brand or the product, or what's right for the book, or what's right for the actual the brand, the image that you have. So it may not always be about what you want or what you think, but it might be about what's right for your brand, what's right for your actual image. Like, if you're a celebrity, it's not necessarily what's right for you personally, but what's right for your image as a celebrity. Does that make sense? Kind of went on a tangent there, but hopefully you got some stuff out of it. And then this is quite interesting. A journalist, especially one concerned with current affairs. Now, why I think this is interesting is because, think about it, right? I've never really thought that a journalist is a publicist, but think about it, they pretty much are, because guess what? They are getting press for the media platforms that they're literally doing it in reverse. So most publicists are getting you booked onto be on a podcast, for example, but they instead are on a they're on they're in the team of a magazine. They're in a working for a magazine company, right? A journalist is working for a newspaper company, right? So they are there, and they'll go out and take loads of pictures, or they'll be on the phone basically receiving calls from people that are pitching, and then they're literally curating and finding those right people to be in the newspaper or to be in the magazine. So they are doing it in reverse. They're doing it on the other side of things. They are actually recruiting people for media platforms, um, or to be in magazines, newspapers, and so on and so forth. And so they're trying to do it from a current affairs perspective, because their aim is to make sure that this is going to take our magazine to the next level. This is the right story for this newspaper. This is the right quote to go into this publication. Does that make sense, guys? Now, usually with journalists, they are dealing with big media platforms for the most part, where they have a team of people. But a publicist usually, if we're talking about just like a solo person as a publicist, where they're working with clients or working with a client or a company or a product, whatever, um, if they're representing a product, a person, a company, whatever, right? That kind of publicist is usually solo. They don't normally have a big team the way that a journalist is connected to a huge media team. Okay, so some don't get me wrong, some publicists do have, there is an agency going on, so they might have like a team of some big PR agencies could have publicists there, and it's just a massive thing. But usually, most publicists might have like an assistant or something, right? So yeah. Anyway, guys, I just want to give you a lot of information before I go into this. So, you've been thinking about hiring a publicist lately and wondering if this is a good idea or not. You're realizing more and more each day that you need some good press, publicity, and some powerful media interviews to help you to stand out in your online business and to help you to be a cut above your competition. You were drained by all the noise on social media. You are fed up of posting 24/7 or scrolling through meaningless posts. You feel like you aren't getting your message across to your audience or to your potential clients the way you wish to. You know that you're good at marketing and you know that you're good at showing up on social media, but you aren't really familiar with PR or how you can leverage it in a more powerful way if you do know a little bit about PR. You dream of being on some bigger podcasts. You dream of being on radio, on television, on stage. You just see yourself doing big things, but you don't know how to make it happen. Or you don't know how to make it happen more often. You want it to be more consistent. If this sounds like you, if you are like, yep, oh my goodness, like I resonate with some of that. If you're like, yep, I can identify with one or two of these statements, then it's most likely that you are definitely ready to be in the media in a bigger way by working with a publicist that can help you to get there. That might be the next best step in your business, especially if you're earning good money. If you're making like six figures, if you are, or if you're really stuck in your business and you're just not getting clients, you're not getting sales, and you've tried everything, then it ain't always about you pitching to, like, it's not always about you promoting your products and services. Sometimes you need to get the visibility first, the publicity, then you're going to get the respect, and that's going to make you sell your products and services. No, if no one knows you, or if they know you but they don't care because they don't really see you as a big deal, guess what? You borrow you, and what you do when you're in Vogue, or when you're in the Huffington Post, when you get featured, if you're on TV on the Today Show, right? If you're on BBC, if you end up having a radio interview with Smooth Radio, or whatever it is, right? There's local, there's national, there's international sources. There's all these sources all over the world. I kind of think of it this way: like, there's probably 1,000 media platforms with your name on it. I mean, especially in reference to podcasts, I bet there's 1,000 podcasts waiting for you to just turn up and do the interviews with them. But you're just not pitching, you're not putting yourself out there, and a publicist will help you to find those sources. Now, you may not get booked for 1,000. That's very unrealistic if you're working with a publicist for a few months, but you're probably going to get at least, something like 10 interviews, or it could be a combination. Maybe 2 speaking gigs, could be 4 TV interviews, it could be 2 radio interviews, and then 3 magazine features. So something like that, right? So just all sort of depends. Maybe you get 5 radio interviews, 3 podcast interviews, and 2 magazine features. You can't always, the publicists can't necessarily always say you're going to get this or that, but they will help you to just get out there in a bigger way. And sometimes it's not even getting out there in a bigger way. It's almost like sometimes just knowing you're working on it is sometimes even just enough, because you're strategizing, you're making plans, you're coming up with ideas, you're learning new things that you can leverage. It's almost like your publicist is teaching you how to fish rather than just giving you a fish. Getting media interviews is good, but what's more powerful is knowing how to consistently get those media opportunities. Like, I studied media studies, and so I forever know how to be in the media. Like, I've been on TV so many times because um, I studied it. I know exactly what to do, and that's why I was a TV presenter once upon a time. And the only reason why I stopped doing a lot of the TV stuff is because I've pivoted and gone into more of the online world. And so for me, what's more beneficial for my business is podcast interviews, which I always do. And then I do a lot of virtual speaking and with universities. So that's something I really enjoy. And then I do live speaking as well at conferences. These are my 3 things I prefer at this point. So I like going to like a couple of conferences every year. And so I went to Madrid, Spain, Madrid, in was it August? Was it July? I think it was July, yeah, July into August. I went to Spain for a conference to speak at a conference, and then the month before, I went to Bulgaria to speak at a conference. So for me, right now, television is not the main thing I'm interested in, like the way I used to be interested in it. Like, that was like, oh, I have to be on TV all the time. Like, I literally was always on TV all the time. I mean, I don't even, people used to ask me how, and I'm like, well, I used to audition. I used to go for castings and auditions. I would phone up media. Listen, I'm the kind of person, I pick up my phone and I phone newspapers and say, hi, I'm Queen Chomad. I'd love to be featured in your newspaper. I'm bold. And by the way, I even won a publicity award because of this, because I used to compete in beauty pageants. So I won Miss Publicity London for the Face of Europe competition. And this was many years ago. But that just shows you how determined I was to win, that I actually won a publicity award. So you're basically a good place right now to learn about like PR and stuff. Um, so basically, let me now share with you what you can do. So I'm going to like go through this. You can definitely take notes, and you can always ask me questions if you want. You can send me an email. I'm going to drop my email below. So, the first reason to hire a publicist is to get the media support that you need to attract media interviews, press, publications, invitations to events, collaborations, speaking gigs, and all of those good things, right? So, all of that you've been dreaming of. And some of you've even been jealous. Some of you are even jealous of people that are really shining in the media, or they have that visibility, or that they're just doing big things. And some of you are jealous of them, and it's not really a jealousy. It could just be, it's pretty much like an inspiration. But sometimes, I think Mel Robbins said that jealousy is sometimes information for what you want. So it may not, you might be thinking that you're like a little bit jealous of some influencers or some celebrities or something. It's not really jealousy. It's just a sign, a message telling you that you're meant to have this life too. Now, some people don't understand that, and so they start getting all bitter and stuff. But no, it's an invitation. It's like a light being shined at you, saying you can have this life too if you just are willing to do the work too. Okay, and the work might mean hiring a publicist like me. Hire me, and I'm just laugh out loud. Okay, so number two, a publicist can help you in reference to minimizing your chances of having a PR crisis or social media crisis. Now, what I want to share with this in terms of a PR crisis is a PR crisis is usually something. It's when um, it's when I'm going to just say it in a different way, nonsense. When nonsense hits the fan, right? Like when something just goes terribly wrong in your business. It could be something that happens in the life of a celebrity where, maybe they're getting a divorce, and that's the crisis, right? But it hits the media. Like, for example, right now, Jeannie Mai and her husband, um, Jeezy, they're having a divorce, and it's a big crisis. Why? Because it's basic. Number one, it's a divorce, and they just got married a couple of years ago. So everybody's like, "Wow, oh my gosh, what's going on?" I thought they were a happy couple. If people saw this coming, it wouldn't really be much of a crisis because it was something expected. But because it's so unexpected, and because of the fact that, like, if it was a gradual process of this not working out, and then they ended it, but if they ended it together in a very amicable way, then maybe it will be a softer crisis. So yeah, it's still a crisis, but it's a bit softer. It's a bit more. There's more ease in that crisis, right? I think Jeff Bozo and his wife, they had a divorce, but no one made it into this really big deal because it didn't seem like some kind of like crazy event, because it was almost like it was quite a peaceful thing. But then with Jeannie and with Jeezy, I mean, it is just like, it's like hot news. It's full of controversy. He blindsided her and is getting a divorce, and she doesn't even know. She didn't sign the doc, and he knew about it, and they went on, basically went away together, and he was promoting his book, and she was all in it with him and supporting him and being around his family, but not knowing that he was already working on the divorce 4 months before. And so it kind of looks really bad, and so that's definitely the kind of crisis I'm talking about. But this could also be the smack that Will Smith gave to Chris Rock. That is also what you call a crisis. Now, another type of crisis could be, I'm going to give you, tell you some smaller ones, right? It could be something like it may not, it could be something like, let's just talk about social media ones. Kylie Cosmetics, there was a time when they were all, like, a lot of the people in her audience were trying to get a refund because they received their lip kits, but it was like bad. Like it was all messed up, right? So, but they didn't hear back from them. So they kept on lamenting about this on social media. They heard nothing back. And so they got angry, and they literally reached out to the media instead. They must have just started complaining to the media. And the media, obviously, they went in hard and covered this. They did, maybe, covered it in some newspapers or whatever, or some magazines, or even on TV. And that got Kylie's attention and her team's attention. And so what they did is they sent out new lip kits, or whether it was, yeah, whatever it was, the palettes that were messed up, they sent them out and they gave them free shipping. And so they dealt with it. They basically quickly did some damage control, apologized, and just dealt with the issue and made those unhappy customers happy. So that's an example of a social media crisis. Now, a crisis can be a good thing. And an example of a good thing is maybe you get like 20, 25 media requests overnight. right? That's a good crisis, but it's still a crisis because maybe your team is not able to handle this level of publicity with all these media sources reaching out and asking for an interview. Now, if somebody becomes famous overnight, they go on Love Island and they're famous now, they've just received it. That can be a crisis as well because they may start getting lots of people that leave them nasty comments in the comment section. And like it's like they're getting this great attention. Oh my god, they become famous. But a lot of people that have become famous overnight, when they come out of a place like that, some of them have become depressed and really unable to handle that level of fame. And so a good crisis can actually sometimes, no, a good thing that happens can still be a crisis, because if they don't have the support and the people in the team in place to help them to handle that level of fame, it can cause more damage than good, right? Now, another one I'll quickly say is if you get loads of book sales. Oh my god, you got like 1,500 book sales. Wow, like now you have to ship out 1,500 books. Now, what if the company that you need to use, you can't, basically, they honestly, like, they are on strike, right? Things like some companies were not in working or running in the pandemic, and can you imagine what that did to some people's book sales and some people's product launches? There was some YouTubers that were so stressed because they couldn't get these products out, but everybody's buying it, and now they look like a fraud, right? And so there's nothing worse than getting loads of orders, and then all of a sudden there's a shipping problem and you can't get it out. That makes you look like you don't have credibility. And so that is an example of something really good happening, but if everything isn't in place for it to be smooth and effective, it can turn into a mess, basically. Now, some people that have gone through this, they had a lot of customer complaints and everything, but they were able to resolve it. But obviously, sometimes that bad, that some of those customers being unhappy, that they could have lost those customers for good. Because not every customer is going to be understanding and say, oh, it's okay, you have a shipping problem. Some customers will be very upset. So, yeah, I hope that helps. Okay, number 3, a publicist can help you to quadruple or even 10x your income and your impact, and advise you on ways to protect your finances and your assets. One of the things that can go wrong with a crisis is losing money. Okay, you have a lot of money to lose. Listen, stop hiring just a lawyer. You need to hire a publicist as well. Okay, because I mean, hello, your income is at stake, right? So if you, the bigger you are, the bigger deal you are, like if you have an 8-figure business, you are more at risk of a crisis than anybody. Because if you mess up in terms of your employees, if you mess up in terms of saying the wrong thing on social media, if you mess up in terms of, you could lose 15 clients in one day, and those could be 100K clients. So can you see how? And then imagine that. Then what will you do then financially if you've just lost 15 100K clients because you said some nonsense thing on social media? Do you get my point? And so a publicist can help you to shut your mouth and to speak in a way that makes sense and really position you. Like, no, you don't have to post that thing. Oh, I saw that you posted this. Let's delete this. Let's get this off social media so that you don't end up in hot water. And so, obviously, in the most appropriate professional way, a publicist can help you and advise you on how to protect your brand, protect your assets, protect your income, but also give you loads of amazing ways to create a bigger buzz around your brand. And this usually, they can give you loads of income generating ideas. So your publicist might say, well, if you want to sell lots of copies of your lip kit, then why not basically do a press party or do a launch party? They might advise you to do a press tour, for example, if you're trying to um, sell your music. They might advise you to go to red carpet events so that you can get a lot of visibility if you're doing if you are acting, right? Like some of you are actresses or actors, and you need to go and do those appearances to be able to get the word out there about what you're doing in your acting work, right? So think about when Jennifer Lopez, every time she's in a movie, she's always doing like press calls, right? She'll start going and doing all these traditional interviews. Why? It's not for the sake of it. It's because she's trying to promote the movie so that the movie can sell more and for people to watch the movie more. She doesn't have to be paid to be on to do these interviews. It's basically just media appearances to promote the movie, because the money that she's going to get is going to come from those movie sales, ticket sales, right? So it's almost like if you don't do the media appearances, you're literally, it's like you want to be broke because you don't want the film to be a success. You don't want your acting career to be a success. But this doesn't apply to every kind of act, every actor. Some actors don't need to do this because they may already have press coming from, like, for example, an agency might be promoting them or something. But usually, if work becomes a bit slow, or if you're trying to launch something, that's the time to do press. Or if there's just not press given, if there's no person managing the press side of things, that's when you might want to just do your own campaign with a publicist or something. Um, yeah, and especially if you have connections to go to events and you know certain people, you can just try and get on more podcasts and try and get, and this can affect your sales, as I mentioned. Like if you do more media interviews and you have books that you want to sell, you're probably going to make more sales, right? Getting closer to becoming a celebrity that you've always dreamed of. So this is number 4. So some of you have actually dreamed of, it may not be a celebrity, but maybe you want to be, just go to that next level as an entrepreneur, as a singer, as a dancer, as an actor. You might want to go to that next level as an author, as a speaker, and this is just going to help you working with a publicist. You're going to have that person to just get you out there in a bigger way, and you're going to kind of rebrand yourself from a PR and media perspective. Number 5, a publicist can help you to create a powerful PR and media game plan to raise your media presence, your authority, your influence, and your credibility. So they might say, one of the things that I've noticed is some women entrepreneurs, right, they don't have a media page on their website. So publicists might just give you that tip like, hey, you need a media page on your website so the media can look at that page and see what you've done, see the interviews that you've done, look at your publications, and that's going to increase your chances of getting onto um, some media platforms. And so you don't always have to even like, okay, I'm pitching you. The publicist doesn't have to always be pitching you. They can give you advice and tell you, okay, this is a strategy. Like, or they might say, listen, we need to gather all your interviews and get them all on the media page. We need a media kit right now so that you can, so there are internal things you can do, behind the scenes things. Maybe your publicist says, hey, why don't you just buy 3 glamorous dresses and wear them on TikTok over the next 3 days and just look like $1 million, and that is going to lift your profile and your brand. Okay, so there's a way you can just look like a superstar for 5 days, and that could be the thing to change the game for you just for a little bit, to give your brand that boost. Okay, number 6, this is your chance to get your media essentials in place and get your PR house in order. So this kind of relates to what I was just saying a little bit before. Your publicist will tell you the things that you need to stand out from a PR and media perspective. So if you want to impress a journalist, they'll tell you the kinds of things you need. If you're trying to get yourself into a magazine, you need 5 or 6 high resolution photos that are, yeah, so that's what you need first and foremost. These should not be photos that you've just gone and downloaded from Facebook. Don't be giving no journalist a picture like that. Now, if this is for a podcast interview, they don't normally need a really big photo, okay? So you can afford to use as long as it's high quality, you can afford to just grab the photos from Facebook if it's for a podcast, because they need little photos instead. Because if it's too big, it won't upload on the platforms that they're on the podcast platforms. So you kind of need to know when to have small photos and when to have big. And so you want to gather all these things, your photos, you want to have your business card ready, you want to have your media kit ready, your reel is ready, your media reel, your show reel, your sizzle reel, whatever reel that you need. Hallelujah. Whether it's your because there are different names, but they mean different things, and some of the names are the same thing. Speaker's reel, right? Some of you want a speaker's reel because you're doing a lot of speaking gigs. Now, most publicists don't book you for speaking gigs, but they may help you with that. They may still help you in terms of getting ready for speaking gigs. So I actually do help my clients with speaking gigs. I get my clients booked with speaking gigs, whether it's virtual and in person. One of my clients, I booked 2 of my clients actually to go and speak at an entrepreneurial event that was like in a different state. One of them was based in Texas. The other one was based in near Boston, and so they both flew out and they went to San Diego to speak at this event, and they're both so happy. Like, I was very happy for them. Okay, so number 7, you'll have a complete rebrand. So that's another thing. Like, this can be a rebrand of many things in your business, or it could be like a few things. I'm going to do a part 2, guys, so I'm going to stop this right now, but watch part 2 for the remaining steps, the remaining ways that a publicist can help you. So, yeah, look out for part two. I don't want to make this too long, so I'm going to stop here. All right, guys, see you in part two.